Welcome back to the Cyclone Fanatic pregame show. I'm your host, Leah Nelson, alongside Chris Williams. We've got lots to talk about between Iowa State and Cincinnati. How are you? I haven't seen you in a little bit.
Fantastic. I've never been better. Good to have you back this week. We were very lonely last week with the pregame show. It's not as good.
That's what it. Oh, I bet it was amazing.
No offense. We just didn't have the energy. We lacked the energy.
Yeah, but you got to the point. I heard it was quick.
Yeah, we just
good.
Dove right in.
Couldn't it be us?
No, it's not a pregame show with us if we're jumping right into the nuts and bolts. Right. But no, big game this weekend. Yeah. Feels like everybody's anxious going into this one.
Yeah, and we'll get right into it. But I'm anxious to talk about Fairway Meat Market in Ames.
Have you heard? It's on Saturday, our third annual Festival of Meats with Fairway.
What?
You even know what this is?
No, tell me more.
Me and a couple of my friends, we love meat, and we do a little tailgate. Not a little tailgate. It's a big tailgate where we smoke meat all night long, and then we eat it on Saturday. But there's a rule.
Okay.
Aiden, what's the rule? I'm going to bring in Aiden Wyatt. He knows the rule. We have one rule at the third annual Fairway Festival of Meats.
If it didn't have a mother, we don't want it.
Yep, that's right. So no sides, no dessert.
Just meat.
No carbohydrates. It's all protein. It's all meat. That's all we eat the entire day. Absolutely nothing else.
I feel like that would just hurt coming out. Just meat.
Well, no, it's actually delightful. You know, that's how humans are supposed to be. You know, we're hunters and gatherers.
Don't even get me started.
Why, are you like a vegan or something?
No, I'm just saying that I've been seeing
that's okay. No, I don't care if you are. Yeah.
No, but I do love Fairway.
Well, I'm going to Fairway on Friday to pick up all my meat. That is the God's honest truth. I will take pictures on social media of the third annual Festival of Meats all weekend long.
It's pretty special. Do you guys have merch?
No, but we really should. I feel like if it didn't have a mother, we don't eat it quote could go.
Sure.
You know, we could do some cool work with that.
I was thinking like a hat with all different kinds of meats on it. I would buy that.
Oh, yeah. Just all the different sausages.
Yes. Sign me up for that hat.
Yeah. Be pretty dope. So that's coming up. Looking forward to that on Saturday.
Put it on your calendars. And then also shout out to our friends over at McFarland Clinic, Dr. Greenwald and Dr. Wormy. You know, they're putting on a clinic. So
yeah, no, they're great. They've been sponsoring our pregame stuff for, probably 10 years now.
Yeah.
Those guys have been. So my friends at Centurion Stone of Iowa, thanks to them. We actually had a user send us one of our listeners and viewers, Leah, got a stone fireplace from Centurion Stone of Iowa.
After everything we've been chatting about?
Yeah, they checked it out and they dove right in. So thanks to that listener. And also want to encourage everybody, plans are being made right now. Go to cyclones2ireland.com. Cyclones2ireland.com for the Aer Lingus College Football Classic, as the Cyclones will take on Kansas State to kick off the 2025 college football season. But we have so much to get to regarding this game against Cincinnati. Leah Nelson, where do you want to start?
Always. My first question I always ask, like, what can we expect from
the leadoff hitter, the leadoff question?
Uh-huh.
You ask what to expect from Cincinnati, and I'll give you the answer. To me, this game is more about what Iowa State can bring to the table. It's just one of those classic, like, it's just funny. I love the end season because I love scouting teams. I love making projections and then seeing how wrong I was. Every once in a while, I'm right. I've barely done that with Cincinnati because, like, to me, again, it just seems so much about Iowa State this week and the injuries and can you get off the deck after really got the defense was the injuries are so much, but it was really a humiliating type of performance for those guys to give up that much yardage. I mean, we saw it with our guy Bo Freeler after the game, like just really a disgusted post game. And so how do they get off the deck is the biggest question. But Cincinnati, in my opinion, might be the biggest difference in an opponent on Iowa State's schedule this year that we thought in the preseason. I mean, I thought this game had the potential to be a laugher. They've turned into a really nice football team. They're not great, but this is a team that about 3 weeks ago, Iowa State would have been a 14, 15-point favorite over, and that has decreased significantly. And it's because Cincinnati's a good ball club. They've got a really good quarterback. They are good on defense, not great, but they've had substance. They're a win away from a bowl game. Not many people would have put them in a bowl game this year, getting to 6 wins. So, yeah, I'm expecting a highly motivated team. Satterfield, their head coach, is, there's a long history with a lot of these guys on Iowa State staff. And then, of course, Tyson Veit, Iowa State's longtime linebackers coach and assistant head coach to Matt Campbell, is now the defensive coordinator there. So I'm expecting playing for bowl eligibility, highly motivated team that is surprisingly really good on offense, which is bad for Iowa State, all things considered, with the defensive injuries. And I think the defense is really interesting, and I know we're going to get to it, but they have a significant advantage with Tyson Veit being there.
That was my next question. You think that obviously they have an advantage since he was at Iowa State, but you mentioned injuries. Do you want to give a little bit of an injury report?
Yeah, I mean,
of what you know.
I don't know that much is the problem. We'll find out at about 6 o'clock when warm-ups start. We'll all find out together singing Kumbaya around Jack Trice Stadium. Listen, I said this to a friend. It can't get any worse.
Right. Way to be optimistic. Right? Yeah.
Right? Like, I mean, it really can't. Like, I'm being dead serious. Like, with that defensive performance last week, I don't know how it can get much worse. At some point, some of these guys have to come back. Mm-hmm. Right? So I'm very optimistic Dominic Orange will play for Iowa State against Cincinnati. I don't know why I was thinking Texas Tech. Malik Verdon,
ingrained in you.
Malik Verdon is the one that, God, if you can have him. See, the problem with last week, Leah, and when I watched the game back, can you believe I watched that game 3 times? Unbelievable how disgusting of a human being I am. The problem with the defense is I'd much rather have missed tackles than be completely out of position.
Right.
And Iowa State's guys were more often than not completely out of position. And what genuinely happened is that started after Malik Verdon left the game. And what happened was his replacement was a young guy who hadn't played much. He's going to be a really nice player, by the way. I'm not throwing him under the bus. This is a hard thing to do, especially against a sophisticated offense like Kansas and Lance Leipold have with a running quarterback. So, what you had was, man, there was a big hole there. You already have 3 freshman linebackers out there. Most of them shouldn't be playing, right? Like, they're doing their best. I'm not killing these guys. I actually feel really I have a lot of sympathy for them with everything they're going through. You're down the stalwart of your defensive line in Dominic Orange. I added it up. There's over 25 guys on Iowa State's roster that are currently out or playing with injuries right now. Like, it's a staggering number.
Yeah. So,
like, when I say it can't get any worse, like, I'm not joking. Like, I do feel like at the worst case scenario, all those guys are still hurt, but the guys who played last week and were completely out of position are going to be in better position this week against an offense that isn't as good, and they've had a week to watch film of them getting their ass kicked on national television. So I don't think it'll get any worse.
Hey, I'm liking the way you're thinking. I'm actually really proud of you.
Thank you. Well, if Aiden was here, if it was Aiden hosting, I just would have been a real curmudgeon right there. No, I'm dead serious though. Like, it can't get worse.
No. Right. But you did mention how Cincinnati's quarterback has a good run game, and Iowa State tends to struggle against those types of quarterbacks. So, do you think that that's a spot where they're going to struggle this game, or what do they do to stop Cincinnati's quarterback?
I mean, the biggest thing you could do is be in the right position. Right. And, it's fun as fans like us, we're just blitz, go after the quarterback. And I mean, I don't think they have it much to lose, because if you're going to be giving up touchdowns like they did to Kansas, you may as well do it putting some pressure on the quarterback. But the problem is you start doing that, and then you've got to have other guys slide over and pick up the slack. We saw Iowa State get burned on a play like that last week. So, fundamental football, really. I mean, that's what they were lacking last week defensively. It wasn't, it wasn't much more than that. It was just be in the right place, be where you're supposed to be. And I'm excited to see how they've grown. And Cincinnati's offense is good, but it's not as good as Kansas's, in my opinion. Cincinnati's quarterback is good. He's not as good as Jaden Daniels. Again, where I don't think it can get worse. I think you're coming back home, and I think we'll see improvement from Iowa State's defense. I don't know how much. I don't know. I'm still to me, if Iowa State's going to have success in these last 3 games, it's going to be offensive driven, where you just need to go into these games thinking we've got to outscore the other team.
Right.
And anything the defense does, with all these injuries, give them props. That's where I'm at, because they're in a. I can already see it now. You guys are tweeting at me to quit making excuses. Well, sometimes excuses are reasons, and the injuries are undeniable, especially when you put it on paper like I did. And hopefully some of these guys come back, and hopefully some of these guys who are put in these spots are going to just keep getting better. That's the best I can offer defensively.
So this is kind of a heavy question, but I guess maybe not, but what would a win for the rest of Iowa State's season entail, and what would a loss mean for the rest of
Well,
the
a win, everything's still in front of you, right?
Right.
I mean, a win, you're 2 wins away from playing for a Big 12 championship, as long as you get a little help from Colorado. So, and a win, to me, big picture, I think brings the fans back to reality where, hey, this is still one of the best seasons in Iowa State history, despite how the last 2 weeks went, which to me is important. I chronicle Iowa State football, right? It's a little different. I don't go as game to game as most fans do, and that's fine. That's what fans are for. But to me, I'm excited to chronicle, if they would win their 8th game, and then you're 1 win away from the best regular season in school history. Never got to 9 wins before at Iowa State. So it puts all that in play. A loss in, the Big 12 championship is kind of out the window, and then you're playing for pride, and you're playing for, by the way, all that stuff would still be in play. Even if you lost, you could still win 2 more, and whatever.
Right.
You guys can do the math. But it will get the problem with the loss is that you would have 3 losses in a row where you're a favorite to win.
Yeah.
Right. Huge favorite over Texas Tech, lost. Minor favorite last week, lost. Now you're a significant favorite. You're going to close at a 9-10 point favorite against Cincinnati. To drop 2 of those games on your home field, that would be a pretty disastrous way to end the season.
Right.
After starting 7-0.
I couldn't agree more. But I also think the struggle is it's really hard to have your season depend on someone else's game, whether they win or lose, how you mentioned Colorado. That's really tough to sit back and just hope that Colorado has a loss, but it could happen.
Well, but I would also say that Iowa State has lost the right to control its own destiny. They had that right.
They were in the driver's seat.
2 games.
Yeah.
So I mean, that's the thing that sucks about these big conferences, though. You don't always. There'll be a lot of times where you're not actually deciding the game on the field.
Right. Which is the worst.
Yeah.
But it happens. It's Big 12 for you.
It does, and it's going to happen a lot more in the future with these giant leagues. But yeah, I mean, I'm excited. If they win this game, everybody's going to be really fired up next week when they go to Utah.
Oh yeah,
I promise you. I know how these fans are. I know you guys, you crazy fans. You guys will be jacked up.
Yeah,
next
Twitter
week
will be a lot more fun.
Because then it's well, man, if we win this one, then we just got to win 1 more at home against Kansas State, right? You're back in it.
Yeah.
So just freaking find a way to get the dub.
It's just a good feeling. Everyone can be optimistic. It's nice to know that the whole season isn't out the window.
It is absolutely not out the window. That is garbage talk. We will not allow it here on the pregame show.
Yeah. No one say those things. But what's your prediction for Saturday's game?
I think I went Iowa State 34-27 was my final. Yeah, 34-27. I just have a hard time believing that this defense is going to all of a sudden just snap its fingers and be locked down.
Yeah.
But I also I hesitate to think that this game's going to be played in the 50s too. And my first gut when I looked at the game was well, I mean, this defense can't catch a cold, right? Whatever. But I have too much respect for John Haycock to go that far. And I also I do believe there's an aspect of this where, I wonder too if there's an aspect where offensively you choose to play a little bit slower to keep your defense off the field, right?
Yeah.
For rest and all that type of stuff. So we will see. I'm going to go 30. I think Iowa State wins the game. I don't know if they cover the point spread. I don't really care. Just get the win. I am going to pick them to win, though. In my experience in doing this, been around Matt Campbell a long time now, almost 10 years. He is at his best in moments like this. They don't always win. Sometimes it's too much. Sometimes the other team's just better. Maybe these injuries are going to be too much for this team. It's very possible. But from what I know about Matt Campbell, he is at his best in moments like these. So that's what makes this game exciting and fun for me.
I love it. I went 28-17, so a little bit lower scoring of a game, but
I hope that we're right, because it would make I also there's a lot of guys I think on that team who are playing injured and all that stuff, and you want to see them be rewarded.
Right.
I heard rumblings this week about how hard it's been to field like a scout team and stuff like that. Like this will be a hell of a long form piece for somebody to write someday, because I think that it's been. I could almost make the argument that it's miraculous that they're 7-2 with everything they've gone through injury wise.
Right. Especially when you wrote all the injuries on paper, like you mentioned, when you put it into perspective, it was very shocking.
Yeah.
How many guys are.
No doubt about that. So yeah, hopefully we're both right, and we'll talk at halftime. And
yes,
I hope it's a boisterous, fun halftime show.
Yeah. I hope we're so excited. Well, we'll still bring the energy. It'll still be good. But...
I'm going to be full of meat. I'm going to have to avoid that old press box bathroom.
Is there a bathroom up there?
It's horrible. There's like one stall for all the fat sports writers.
That's so bad if you're going to fill up on your third annual meat festival meat.
The Fairway Festival of Meats. Get it right. Next year we'll have merchandise just for you.
I can't wait. I can't wait to get a meat hat.
Yeah, we'll let you decide. We'll let you design it. It'll be great.
Okay, perfect. I'm so excited. But thanks to all of our sponsors, Fairway Meat Market, McFarland, Centurion Stone, and Aer Lingus College Football Classic. And yeah, tune back in to our halftime and postgame show. You'll get to hang out with us.